My name is Elfreda Jonker. I'm the Client Portfolio Manager at Alphinity Investment Management. Today I have Johan Carlberg with me, one of our founders and a portfolio manager in our domestic team. Today we will be reflecting on the outlook for 2024. So, Johan, as a starting point, let's look at the year that was and some highlights that you can flag to us.
Sure. I think we say this every year, but it's been another eventful year, obviously. First, of course, from a humanitarian perspective, I think our thoughts go to the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria earlier in the year, and then also the Hamas terrorist attack, and then the following Hamas-Israel war. From a market perspective, I think probably the rallies in anything AI, and then the obesity drugs, and the winners there, and then the perceived losers, been quite remarkable events. But if I really think through what has mattered the most, I think probably is a bit more of a more subtle one, and that is just how incredibly resilient the economies, including Australia, have been to the much higher interest rates that we have today. I mean, if you look at Australia, for example, with mortgage rates above 7%, who would have thought that house prices would be actually up over the last 12 months, or that the unemployment rate would still be below 4%. So, and that's a pretty similar story around the world in many economies, and that's meant that corporate earnings, which of course is what's important for the equity markets, have held up much better.
So definitely not a lack of surprises this year. And if we tilt a bit into next year, what is your outlook?
Yes, sure. I mean, I think the key question is going to be back to the economy. Are we sort of early cycle? That is, have we got most of the challenges behind us now, or is there still more to come? In other words, are we still late cycle? I think that is hard to know, but history would suggest that soft landings, which is what the market is talking a lot about as we sit here a few weeks before Christmas, are typically hard to achieve. But I think either that we both get a solid economy, which is what we've had so far, and meaningfully lower interest rates. I think that's going to be a bit too optimistic.
So is there anything specific that you will be looking for?
There's no really specific event. I mean, you do get the reporting seasons and you get the macro data, but for us at Alphinity, it's usually around monitoring that macro data and trying to understand as much as possible from it, but also then really do all the company-specific work. That's really where we get most of our insights. Talking to management, analyzing the results, and putting them in financial models, etc. So I think we don't usually set the portfolio and hope for a particular outcome, but we've been monitoring things and then adjust as we see appropriate. I think a year ago we did say that we thought there would be some select opportunities in growth stocks, and I think we did find a couple of stocks there in Cochlear and Technology One, for example, and we're still happy to hold those sort of stocks. But also on the cyclical side, it's been interesting to follow what's been going on in China. And we actually made a number of trips there this year after having not been able to travel there for about 3 years. And I do think another thing we said about 12 months ago, that an unexpected outcome would be a greater thawing in the relationship between Australia and China. I think that's played out. But on the other hand, the economy has been quite sluggish, as we all know, and more lately, a number of stimulus measures have been announced by the Chinese government. They look fairly sort of old styles. They're not really addressing any of the structural issues that China more and more is coming into around too much debt, particularly at the local government debt level, and also just the returns on all the infrastructure and properties is becoming lower and lower, which is a problem that they need to address. But in the meantime, this stimulus that is coming through is going to be positive for our resources companies, particularly the bulk ones. So iron ore is one that stands out at this point. So we are overweight both BHP and Rio in the portfolios at this point. Okay,
so normally I think all of us always try and guess, what the main factors, key factors will be that will drive markets next year.
Yeah.
If you can pinpoint a few, what do you think it will be?
In terms of unexpected outcomes, yes. I mean, I guess by definition we don't know what they're going to be, but if we look at a couple of things that the market is thinking about but not really pricing in, I guess the first thing we have is the US presidential election. That's usually a headwind to the markets, at least in the first half, as the nomination process gets underway in earnest, and that usually creates a bit of uncertainty. It does look this time like it's going to be Trump against Biden again, but any other candidate being nominated would be a big surprise, let alone if they then go and win the election. So that certainly is not something that's in the market's thinking at this point. How it impacts the market, of course, will then depend on what type of policies that candidate is going to bring. I think other than that, unfortunately, it is back to the economy again. As I said, the main focus at this point is a controlled slowdown. Anything more significant than that, I don't think is priced. And it could be just that we have longer lags in between interest rates and the economy responding this time. Both corporates and of course consumers as well did lock in a lot of debt at that very low interest rate level. And certainly it started to expire already for consumers in Australia, and for corporates it's something that they're going to have to deal with over the next couple of years. So it could be that those lags come through with greater length, and that's something that I don't think the market's pricing at this point. Now, of course, if that happens, then we do get rate cuts, and that's typically how the next upturn in the market gets underway. But first, we do have to deal with the earnings outfall from a weaker economy than what people are thinking about at the moment.
So definitely no shortage of surprises, challenges, and excitement as always.
No, as always, there's always going to be lots of things to look at, and hopefully some good investment opportunities ahead.
Well, thank you, Johan, and thank you everyone for listening. From all of us at Alphinity, we hope you have a wonderful Christmas period, and we look forward to talking to you in the new year. Thank you.
Thank you.